All right, let's move on to this next spot. The Titans at Eagles. Eagles open up as 4-point favorites. It's now 3.5. This total's gone up from 35 to 37. The more, and I may have slipped, did not mention the Eagles off the top, but the more we talked about the Eagles, the higher I got on them. And there's no doubt in my mind that I will be holding a conference and Super Bowl ticket with the Eagles' name on it. I've yet to do it, but I am very high on them. And I love hearing Donnie break this team down, but it feels like we're at a time right now where we're getting a ton of value on this Philadelphia Eagles. And is that, maybe it's always the case because the Cowboys are backed by so many fans that it just allows us to always find value on the Eagles. How does it look week 1 of the preseason, Donnie, for your Eagles?
Yeah, it feels pretty good about the Philadelphia Eagles heading into the football season, especially in the NFC East. When you take a look at Jimmy, also, keep in mind the Dallas three-headed monster, they all want to get paid, so they're having a lot of headaches just getting into the regular season, while the Eagles, everything coming out of there, besides that Grugier Hill injury, who is scheduled to be a starting linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, he goes down, he's going to miss a couple weeks of the season. Everything's been good and what you expect. Deshaun Jackson coming into camp, it seems daily they're tweeting out, oh, look at that Wentz, 50-yard bomb to Deshaun Jackson for an easy touchdown. That offense is going to absolutely move. It'll be interesting to see when it goes out live for game 1. Because obviously Carson Wentz, they're saying, hey, we don't know if he's going to play. There's no shot Carson Wentz is going to play in this football game this weekend. They'll ease him back in week 2, week 3. He'll get a little bit more playing time. But don't forget, coming off of the back injury last year, you don't really want him running around in week 1 where it's, not really live bullets out there and some guys on another team, quote unquote, trying to make a name for themselves. You'll try to keep him out of this. Nate Sudfeld's a decent backup quarterback. He should be able to play through it. But I think maybe the advantage that you would take a look at if you're trying to back the Titans here, obviously we know Marcus Mariota is probably not going to get a lot of playing time if he plays at all. But you got Ryan Tannehill as a backup quarterback in this. He's probably going to get a couple looks, and that's a proven veteran talent. Not the greatest quarterback in the world, but when I'm trying to bet a preseason game, I want to see who's going to get the most amount of time as a decent quarterback that you're going to be sitting back to. The Eagles have a plethora of running backs, so they should be able to move the football. A lot of depth on the offensive line, so even their second offensive line that comes in the game is going to be pretty good here. The only factor is when you're looking at like a 3.5 in the preseason where anybody can win, that means you're probably going to have to win by more than a touchdown. If the game comes down to a late, series, you're not trying to play for the tie. You're trying to play for the win. So you would kick the field goal, obviously, to win by 3, which wouldn't cover with the 3.5. And if you're going to tie the game up at the end, you're going to go for a 2-point conversion because you want to try to avoid overtime. It's hard in the preseason to take a look. I think if this was a regular season game, it'd be pretty easy to nail down the Eagles, especially being at home. I'll lean on the points. Give me the 3.5 with the Titans in this game. I don't think either team shows much. I think it'll be a closer battle. And I'll just lean on that and say, if it's close, I'll take those points in the end of the game.
It makes sense with Tannehill getting an opportunity here, which he probably doesn't even want week 1 of the preseason, but will want to show something. Vrabel 0-4 against the spread last year, 2-2 with the over-unders, and Doug Peterson 7-5 against the spread in preseason in his career, and 4-8, 8 of his 12 games going towards the under. Eagles, I'm very high on the Eagles, and Torino says Eagles should have kept Bennett. He says Eagles have 2 issues. Peters can't stay healthy, and secondary has issues with Darby coming back from injuries. They should be good, but secondary still has issues. Whale Capper, Titans at Eagles, week 1 preseason.
Yeah, so I share the general Eagles optimism here, and Tom Marino's points are valid, but we saw what they were, they were able to coach up below replacement level players in order to make a run to the playoffs last year, which was damn impressive. So I'll defer to the coaching staff being able to develop their guys behind the the guys who are question marks or coming back from injuries. So I'm not worried much about the defense on the Eagles, and their offense looks poised to be pretty dynamic this year. All that said, the Titans are probably my only real strong look for Thursday's games on any of the sides. I think they win this outright. I think the fact that Tannehill was moved from a starting position in Miami to the backup position in Tennessee has lit a fire under him. The reports that we're getting that he's working with the first team guys in practice in preparation for this game. I think he has eyes on that starting job. And I think that the organization in general would not be shying away from, giving him that impetus, because I think they're trying to light a fire under Mariota. We remember last year, the Titans improbably were pretty close to making the playoffs, even though they were underachieving most of the season. They still were knocking on the door. And Mariota misses the last 2 games of the season with a stinger. Blaine Gabbert, performs pretty poorly at home in a win and you're in situation. I think all this is kind of spelling the end of Mariota's happy tenure in Tennessee. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if they put Tannehill in a position to do pretty well in this game, to look good. He's been getting reps with the first team. This isn't a situation where you're moving the second team guy up and he's with unfamiliar offensive line and receivers and running backs. He's going to be playing with the guys he's been practicing with recently, which I think sets them up for a nice look as far as a first half on the money line and the full game money line. So I'm going to be this is one of the ones I'm probably most looking forward to of this Thursday slate, just to see if Tannehill can put some pressure on Mariota.
Wow, and you answered my next question, whether you were going to take the points or go for the score with the money line. And that's what he's going to do. That's a great angle. The only concern goes back to Tomor, who says Vrabel treats preseason like Belichick, who he played for. He doesn't care. But maybe it doesn't matter if he doesn't care, because Tannehill's care could trump that, possibly. Very interesting look, and very appealing at this point.